So now we're getting to the real stuff here. So we've been talking about uh, we've been talking about the skill players. So we've been doing the top 10 players in the NFL, top 10 players in the league, top 10 in the NFL 2025. Now we're getting to the skill guys. So we did the skill guys. Now we're getting to the big guys, right? So the offensive linemen, offensive tackle, we're going to do left and right tackle, guard, same left and right guard, center as well. That'll be the last one the next few weeks. So who are the best linemen in the league? So I look at a couple things. This is probably the only position in the field where wins and losses, that doesn't really do anything here in this position. I don't think linemen necessarily, I kind of always kind of factored it in. But one thing I do look at is win rate and the success of the skilled people behind them. Okay, so offensive linemen, running backs, whatever, like especially at guards, you have good run game because you got good guards, etc. So look at that. But really, win rate is a thing for me here with a lot of these guys. All right, so let's talk about this guy, Andrew Thomas. Probably you see lists like this, you're not going to have him anymore. I still like him, though. I think, I'm not even sure that they're going to have him week one, but we'll see. I think he's as good as anybody in the NFL. But I think, his problem is he's had a lot of injuries and things like that. Get him on the field, top 10. I do like him as far as the long term as well. But I think he's a mauler. So I think out of everybody, this is the one where maybe we say, well, what's he? But Andrew Thomas, I think, they believe in him in New York. They gave him a huge extension. I think number 10, I think Andrew Thomas is it. Number 9, John Alt. I knew I was going to say it. Joe Alt, that was his dad. John Alt was his dad, rather, was the great offensive lineman so many years in Kansas City. Now he's playing in his son Joe, is a great Notre Dame player, and is actually in, I think I have John Alt there. So I'm sorry for that. So Joe Alt is the son. John Alt was the dad. So Joe Alt is the best. I have him in the top 10. I think clearly last year in the draft, no question about it. No question about whether this guy was the best offensive tackle in the draft. This was easy to figure out, easy for Jim Harbaugh to go ahead and take him. I think his development last year was really good. This is a really good tackle group. And this is exactly what Jim Harbaugh wants, a really good tackle group. This guy's a mauler, puts his hands on people. When I see tackles, and I'm going to say you're an elite tackle, I want to see you humiliating people. I want to see you taking guys, get your hands on, throw downfield. So definitely, a little bit of adjustment as a rookie. I think the sky's the limit for Joe Alt going forward. Sorry about that. Not John Alt, Joe Alt going forward. Christian Darrisaw for the Minnesota Vikings. Darrisaw, I think, is fantastic. I really am impressed with him every time I see him. Again, injury is a concern. I think more likely than Thomas, he'll be there at the beginning, but I do think it is there. I think his PFF grade, win-loss rates, everything is off the charts. I think Darrisaw, you look at the success that Minnesota's having in the run game offensively. You look at their strong offensive line. I think this guy is the linchpin to the offensive line, Christian Darrisaw for the Vikings. So definitely strong line play there as well. Laramie Tunsil slipping a little bit in the rankings. I had Laramie Tunsil a little bit higher than I've had him. He's at 7 this year, 30 years old. Still in top 10. Still in the top 10. Laramie Tunsil's still really good. Didn't move to the Commanders. So many years in Houston, he was there. So now he's working with the Commanders as well. So definitely a big pickup for the Commanders. I definitely think you have a young quarterback with better way to protect them than to go ahead and get a outstanding pass blocker with Laramie Tunsil. So I think this is an absolute good move for the Commanders going ahead and getting him. Better pass blocker than run blocker, which is good. The thing about Tunsil, I think, dropped him a little bit. He's getting older. and he's always had that thing with the flags. He gets flagged a lot. I think that's a thing with him. I notice it too often with him where he gets flagged more than he should, as good as he is. But other than that, I think Tunsil is outstanding. I think definitely he's in the top 10 at number 7. Tristan Wirtz for the Bucks. Some people have him higher than this. I think this list. I think once you get here, once you say, and I say this a lot of times with this list, you get here and you say you can get the 1. Again, guy might be on PUP to start the season. I don't care. He's fantastic. Wirtz, I think, is an incredible offensive tackle as well. So I think Wirtz is. You don't need to give him help. He's back all by himself. But again, injury issues, I think the only bit of a concern as far as him starting the season. So I do worry about that a little bit with Wirtz. But I think Wirtz, is the real deal. He's been the real deal. Definitely, you talk about, I think maybe the most underrated offense in the entire NFL is the Bucks. I think Wirtz is fantastic at 6. I don't even care about the injury in his case. Rashawn Slater for the Chargers. So you talk about the best offensive line, one of the best offensive line tackle groups in the league. You talk about this is exactly again what Jim Harbaugh wants. He wanted a group of great offensive tackles to build his team around the physicalness of the team. I think he could wind up being number 1 and really being a guy considered number 1 in the league. Like definitely when they drafted Joe Hall, you bring him in, and he has been fantastic for them all season long. Win rates. This guy is. I think like he kind of gets more credit, like a lot of left tackles, as far as pass blocking. His PFF grade is really high. I think it's like 90% pass blocking. I'm really impressed with his run blocking as well. Really, I think it's much better than what people think he is. But I think Slater, and having Alt there is a big reason why I like the Chargers in the AFC West. Slater, number 5. Number 4, Trent Williams. Yeah. Trent Williams, I think, is one of the 5 best offensive tackles in the NFL history. There's nothing been like Trent Williams, but the reality is he's 36 years old, going to be 37. He did miss some games. He has missed some games here the last couple years. I will say this. There is no getting around when you look at the Niners line, the difference when he plays and when he doesn't. It's a whole different look. So even at his advanced age, I think he's still so valuable to them and such a good cog for them to keep him healthy most of the year. But I can't put him at number 1 anymore. I think he's at the age with too many injuries. Play has dropped some. I definitely going to put him at 4 going forward as well. So number 3, Lane Johnson. Again, another guy. For years, you could put him at 1. Definitely, we talk about Lane Johnson. This guy has been a tremendous offensive talent for so many years for the Eagles. I think the Eagles line is just fantastic for years now. So there's no question Lane Johnson has been he had to be talked out of retirement. So that tells you something that I don't like hearing that from a guy. Okay, he's got to be talked out of retirement. He doesn't want to keep playing anymore. But that's interesting to see here. Trent's going to play into his 40s. He's going to try. He's going to try to play into his 40s. But Trent slipping a little bit as good as Trent has been. Lane Johnson's number 3. Kind of the same. I don't think the drop-off is as well. I think you talk about the right side. There may have not been a better right tackle in the last couple years. When we talk about Lane Johnson. His partner in crime might be Jordan Mailata is for the Eagles. And I think, the Eagles are so strong on this offensive line. This guy's enormously underrated. I never hear his name as far as you talk about a guy who's the number 1 in the league. I think, boy, he's really right there when you talk about number one. But number two, I think it's pretty close to number one. But Joey Maliuna, I think it's fantastic. There's no question about it. Run blocking, pass blocking, push, pass up, standing up, things like that. You never see him need help. You never see guys get around him. I think he's the best too in the pass game for them. I think when teams were throwing, Jalen Hurts goes to throw the ball. I think I like him the most as far as that goes as well. And Penei Sewell, number one for the Lions. Yeah, I know. Boy, the Lions line, I think, for years was kind of the best in the league. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore as well. They did lose some guys on the line, but Penei Sewell has been just putting on a show for everybody. I think the line, the reason why every running back they put in, Jared Goff and all that other stuff, not getting pressure, I think Penei Sewell, I think, is fantastic for them. Number one, I think he is the best offensive lineman in the league. Not sure if you know, Trent lost his newborn son. He's going to keep his mind busy after that. If the Niners get a decent swing tackle, he'll be here for a while. I did not know. Lost one of his. So shout out to Trent Williams there, keeping his head up. It's sometimes things are more important than football in life, and I think that's kind of my point. When you get to be a certain age, yeah, I just said that Wirtz is going to miss some time as well. I think Tunzel I've seen might miss some time. Wirtz, I don't care. Wirtz, if he missed 4 or 5 games, he's still in the top 10. But Trent Williams, again, missing some time. Sometimes things are more important than football, and that's kind of my point. Certainly, you get to be an older person. It certainly is. You know, there was a time where work and getting ahead is more important. Now he's 37, and so maybe his kids and his family are, trumping his thing for football. And sometimes that's not always a good thing in terms of success on the field. So shout out, though, to Trent Williams, hopefully with his son, prayers up for him and his family. Absolutely, Kenny. All right. So let's go ahead and talk a little MLB baseball summer. So let's go ahead and get that squared away for you. What else here? How do I feel real quick? I do have a second, actually. How do I feel about Oscar Estrie in Houston, the rookie from Minnesota? They're speaking highly of him, even though there are no pads yet. I didn't love him in the draft, so we'll see how he does as a rookie. I think it's a little high when they drafted him as well. I think, we'll see. I'm not overly convinced yet as well. Although seeing him in camp, seeing him with the ones does matter. I'm thinking that is good that we're seeing. He was a second-round pick. Yeah, I thought that was a little high, Kenny. Like when you're drafting him in college, I didn't really see a guy that should have been. But I saw some of those draft ones, and I'm going to get to baseball. I said but I saw a lot of those guys in the draft, and there was a lot of similar guys like guard, tackle-ish guys that were picking high. Like some guy from Arizona, some of the name escaped. But it was a lot of those type guys. It was hard to really see. I think the tackles that actually did get taken were better at the top. So again, Estrie, they're really rolling the dice in Minnesota though with I don't think he's special. And I think they're really rolling the dice in Minnesota with J.J.